Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Bitcoin Consciousness podcast. This is a pretty special episode today because it is a cross post from Alex's Wildlife Unschooling Pod, and in this episode, her and Sam introduce a new project that I recently joined called the Jedi Academy, and I can't help but feel a tremendous amount of excitement and joy when thinking about this project and working to build it in flow and considering all the lives that it's going to impact. If after listening to this episode you are interested in learning more and becoming a part of the email list so you can get regular updates, we're going to post a link to a form in the description, so be sure to check that out. Enjoy the episode.
Unschooling mit meiner Mama.
Nice. So very welcome, Sam. I'm super happy that you're here with me. I think it's already the second time you're on the show. And we've been working in the background together on some stuff. And I had the feeling like we should talk a bit about the concepts we're thinking in and working on. Maybe you want to introduce yourself quite shortly because you are way better at this than me.
Yes. Yes, I'm Sam Gustafsson. I come from Sweden originally. I've been working and living around the world, creating various communities, spiritual communities, artistic communities. And right now I'm living in Ljubljana, Slovenia, where I have a school called Creative Arts Academy, where we have high consciousness business models, where we use field work and multidimensional awareness to grow and expand the business rather than old business strategies. And then now with Alex, we are building an online school for children with multidimensional abilities, where we can take this even further. Because in my Creative Arts Academy school, this is focused on the expression, the different artistic expressions like dance, music, drama, public speaking. And it's still within the realm of old-fashioned art, you can say. But what we're building with Alex is a school where we will be working more directly with the children's intuitive abilities and awareness of other dimensions. Yeah, so this is a short introduction, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So maybe we look a bit into our terminology, because I think a lot of people have a sense of or a feeling for what you just said. But as this is not really mainstream yet, and if I talk about things like that, most of the people don't get me. Sometimes it's because the words are not really common or have a common meaning, or there's, you know what I mean? So maybe we talk a bit about what kind of words we are using and what stands behind them. Because if I say multidimensional field work, I know what it is, but I think a lot of people would be like, okay, you lost me there. So maybe we can go through some of these things and you just explain what you think it is, so everyone is on the same page for the rest of the conversation.
Great, yes.
Nice.
You give me the words and I give you the definition.
Let's do it like that. Okay, what I really want to know personally more about is high consciousness business models. It sounds super interesting. I'm already into it. So tell me what it is.
Okay, that's a big question. We need to use many words to explain this. So if we look at everything as fields, then old business structures coming from these fields of financial fear. So if we see financial fear as collective fields, so this is something that we can sort of choose to be aligned with or not. So as long as we are aligned with the collective financial fears, we are doing things out of fear. We're doing things out of lack and scarcity. So we do things out of profit. And we don't honor the souls involved, really. So if we can imagine these collective fields of fear, and it's also the shame and the guilt and all these things. The matrix construct fields that people are plugged into. So the first step is then to disconnect from these fields and start operating in higher frequencies, other collective fields that are of a higher frequency. So then we do things not from profit and fear, but we do it from inspiration, guidance, joy. So we just live in a way where we just do what we love. And then money is just a natural byproduct of that, rather than money being the focus of the business.
Mm-hmm. I like that a lot. That's pretty cool. So let's dive a little bit into the direction. Why is it so important to talk about soul path, whatever you want to call it, when creating something like a project, a business, whatever, creating an idea? Because what I always felt as a kid, especially in school, like this is not my purpose. And my soul was really suffering through all of that time because I wasn't able to do what I am here for. And as a child, I felt it really strongly and it nearly killed me. And now, okay, I'm an adult. I do whatever the fuck I want, so I can follow the path of my soul. Why is it so important for you, or in general? What do you think?
Yeah. So certain fields have been so dominant on the planet that when we come into a human body, we are sucked into these negative, low vibrational fields, like a school, and we have to adapt to that fearful frequency there and do things that are not natural to us. And some people get used to it and they continue the whole life to do this. But others, like you and me, we feel that it's not right. It's like we've been forced into fields that are not in harmony with our true nature. So we begin to break out of them, where we can listen to our inner guidance and just do, like you said, what the fuck we want. So that's the journey of just finding ourselves. So the first step is to find ourselves and break out of that. And then the second step is to be ourselves and to create and be a guardian of these higher frequency fields and allow other people to step into these higher frequency fields. And it's very different being in a low frequency field like an old school where you're forced to do things and it's control and it's fear-based, and then stepping into a field like our school where it's the opposite. Everyone is just encouraged to be their true self. So that's how we create a better world long term.
True. You know what I really found funny? When we started to talk about our project, I approached it like a normal soulless business. And I learned really quickly, like, this is my chance to step away from this and to just create without the need of this old structures from the soulless businesses I've been involved into in the past. Not all of the businesses I've been involved were soulless, but so for me, the personal journey is definitely letting go of that completely without any guilt or shame, but stepping into that and calling it a superpower instead of I'm not able to work. No, I work quite differently than normal people would think. And I really enjoy that process. So, next question. A high consciousness business models we already have. This is really nice. So, tell me a little bit more about field work, multidimensional field work. What do you mean by this?
Yes. So when we break out of the fearful structures, we open our hearts. That's a natural consequence. And we begin to feel first ourselves, then people around us, and then whole communities. So we begin to navigate the world through the heart by feeling people. So instead of thinking of a person and having a projection about who they are or what they do, we just bypass that and just feel that person. Then we can feel their pain, their frustration, but we also feel their potential, their love, their longing. So we begin navigating the world as feeling people. We feel everything. Or if we have inner vision or inner hearing, we can see them as their souls. So then we begin to experience that everything is just fields, that the physical body and the construct around us it's like an interface. You have like a simulation around you. Your body is moving, your external reality is sort of physical. But then we tap into the blueprint level around or through the construct, and we tap into these fields, the fields that are creating the construct and the physical body. And then we notice that we can interact in this world of fields, and we tune one field by feeling it, and then the construct changes.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay.
That was a big step.
Yeah. But I think we will take this conversation much further. So I think even if this is a big thing to digest, it will make sense in the end.
Yes.
So last question in this direction. What do you mean when you talk about multidimensional abilities or intuition or awareness of these abilities?
Yes. So we have the external senses, and each external sense has an internal component, which then awakens when we step out of the fearful structures. So we are living both in the external reality with our external senses, and we're living in the internal world with our internal senses. So we have friends, colleagues outside, and we have friends and colleagues inside. So we navigate both the physical reality and the internal blueprint reality. So to give you a little bit more examples of these fields. So when we have this multidimensional awareness, or we just open our heart and we activated our inner senses, then any person or any project, any company or a department within a company, we can just go inside and we feel the structure of that field. So rather than trying to fix problems in the external world, we just tune the fields in the internal world and let the external reality reflect that change. So we could say multidimensional, we're like architects, because we are designing our experience in the construct by tuning the fields that are creating the experience in the construct. So one more thing I want to mention to make it really like concrete. So if when I have a teachers meeting with my school, so we tune into ourselves, so everyone align in their own energy field, and then we start looking at the fields of the different departments. Maybe one teacher is struggling with something, then instead of fixing it in the external world, we look into the field and we feel that field. So it's like we are doing collective field work within the company as a natural part of our operation. And then when we have balanced all the fields, we feel really centered, we feel really connected, we feel like one, and we feel love. Then we also talk about some practical things in the external world. But that's sort of after we feel that the fields have been balanced.
Makes sense. I don't know who said it, but someone famous, some genius. Like, you cannot solve the problems on the level or on the level. I forgot what exactly he said. Where you perceive them, so you have to go one level up to solve your problems, and that works pretty well for me, at least. So I think I got one last question.
I think it was Einstein saying that.
Yes, I think so, wasn't it? So I wasn't sure. I didn't want to say it. Maybe he didn't say it at all, and just someone, I don't know.
Possibly, yes.
So what is your multidimensional superpower?
Yes. So what happens when we go further and further into this is that we learn to embody these fields. So maybe in the beginning we can just sort of sense them or see them, but we come to a point where our body really feels them. So whatever you're thinking about, the field that you're connected to, that's how your body is feeling and shaping itself. So this means that I can check in with my body, because I'm so detached from my body, because I know that I'm not a construct, I know that I'm not a physical body. So the body and the physical body and the construct becomes like tools from soul level, like calibration tools. So my superpower, one of them, is that whatever I think of, I can just observe my body and see what kind of state my body is in. And then when my body is relaxed and peaceful, that field is tuned. So if I come in contact with a new field that has distortions in it, my body will sort of go into baby position maybe, or something like that, because the field it's connected to is so dense and it needs to be tuned. But what happens then is also that I'm able to feel into any oversouls. So I connect to one company, and then I feel the frequency of that company in my field, in my body. So the body starts operating as a barometer or like a calibration point for fields. And then I'm able to do that with any beings that come.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that all human beings do have superpowers. And the big question is, and I think the answer is not that surprising. Why don't we live up to that, what we could be? I think a lot of this gets lost because we live in such an unnatural environment and we are shaped in a way that the system wants us to be shaped and not how nature would shape us if we would live without that system we are now living in. So I think our work is partially about reawakening superpowers like that and make sure the same time that a lot of families wake up to their full potential. So especially the parents, so they can support their kids in their journey becoming their very best version of themselves with crazy superpowers. And I really need to say, until now, I've been not ashamed, or that's maybe the wrong word, but uncomfortable to talk about these topics because most of the people would think I'm completely insane and crazy. If I talk about unschooling, they already are out because it's too much for them to handle. But I think people who are into homeschooling or unschooling, that's just the next step to understand that there is so much more outside and that this could change how we learn because learning can happen within a second or overnight. I love that example of it started with you inviting my son to a meeting. If you don't want me to tell, just let me
No,
know.
yeah, it's good.
And you were like, I was like, he doesn't speak English. He understands everything, but he doesn't speak it at the moment. And you were like, yeah, he will pick it up and he will be interested in learning quite soon. And I was like, okay, let's see. I believed you, definitely. So I was excited and looking forward to what will happen. And I swear he just woke up one morning and he was fluent in English. And yesterday I've been sitting with a bunch of strangers for having dinner, what I normally don't do, but I enjoyed it a lot. And we talked exactly about how learning can happen overnight, and they didn't believe it. I mean, I had my son next to me being perfectly fluent in English now. And I'm a lazy piece of shit, I need to say, when it comes to learning or teaching, because I really don't believe in it like that anymore. Or I never believed in it because the way I learned for school was quite different from the normal way of learning. So I think this might be my son's superpower to just collect collect information from the field and integrate it into his life really quickly. And just imagine if we go one step further and talk about the future of learning, the future of school, or multidimensional learning, education, whatever we want to call it, this could change a lot, not only for one kid, but for the whole humanity, society. I see humanity going in two really extreme directions at the moment, and I'm clearly at the other end. So I'm curious to see how this might change this part of society. Maybe let's talk a little bit, if you want, about how you envision the future of learning or multidimensional education.
Yes, so this is really a big passion of mine. So we have the possibility to learn in new ways. And I am then pioneering this myself. And this is the embodiment process that I was just mentioning. So we can tap into fields and integrate them, like you say. So we have the ability to learn through the fields by just integrating and embodying, you could say, knowledge or skills or wisdom. So as long as we have fixed identities, then we are blocking this. We're like holding on to a certain self-image. We are trying to show a certain public persona. But when we let go of that, we become no one. And when we become no one, we become everything. We have access to everything. So instead of holding on to a certain personality, we just allow things to just flow. So we become a fluid being, and this is also described as a crystal body. So we have crystal children, and then we have the crystal bodies. So we're coming from carbon bodies, which have fixed identities, and it's just playing out fixed routines or like programs. So we're repeating the same programs over and over and over again. But what we can do in these multidimensional schools in the future is that we can just allow ourselves to become this crystal body where we are never the same, but it's still a coherence because we are in contact with our true source. So that this true source becomes the sort of the fixed identity, but we never speak in the same way. We never repeat patterns as we did when we were in the Matrix. So this is sort of the operating system for learning, and then we can learn from each other, like exchanging codes with other people, and that's physical people, but it's also then multidimensional people. So in the future school, the first thing we do is just understanding that it's not the people outside of us that is influencing how we feel. It's everything inside of us. So it's like at the end of the day, when you go to bed or when you meditate, it's just your soul, and then it's just lots of different avatars or archetypes or Merkabahs. So it's like your soul has all these aspects. And then when we go into the world, people are coming in and playing the roles of these aspects. But it's not actually the people, so we can't change the people, but we can always tune and upgrade our archetypes. And then life becomes like a fairy tale where people just come and play out the different roles that we have already tuned. And if something bad happens, we say, okay, that's like a shadow we need to look at. And we do that then inside of us. So this is the kind of things, it still sounds maybe science fiction, but this is like just the basics for the future schools. That, and I think children have an easy time understanding this. And it just becomes natural to operate in that way.
Yeah, I think the same. I think the real challenge lies in bringing the parents on board without making anyone feel weirded out by this. So how can parents support their kids in this journey, which is normally quite natural, but we lost it along the way? How can parents support their kids?
Yeah, so the parents need to understand that everything they believe is just old programs. So adapting this double awareness that yes, you have opinions, yes, you have beliefs, but they are all like false. Like everything that you're worried about, it's just like from the collective fear fields, and it's not real. But if you believe it's real, you make it real and you create that scenario. You have to play it out. So what we do is we learn to live with this double awareness of, yes, it's 2025, so we still have a lot of projections and triggers and all these things going on. But that's what it is. It's projections and triggers. So we operate beyond the projections and triggers. We notice it, we can play it out, but it's not us. It's not real. So when we do this, we give space for the children to also connect beyond the projections. So instead of parents saying, you are like this, and then they are like getting more and more into these fixed identities and fixed beliefs, that it's true what they feel, this oneness, this unconditional love, and this like overarching true reality between all people and all beings and nature, and preserving that connection and that trust and that innocence, that softness, and not forcing them into these fixed identities. So this is what parents can help with.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of parents I meet along the way, they are really frustrated with the 2025 reality, but at the same time, they're super afraid to change something in their everyday life. But change needs to start with yourself. So when people tell me that I'm obviously crazy for living the way I am, I'm always asking them, yeah, but what do you think will the future look like? And who will bring this future? Like, it doesn't fall from the sky and it's there. You have to create it. You have to embody it now. So your kids have your future as reality now. What do you think? Maybe what does a day or session, I don't even want to call it schools of the future, but learning of the future, like, yeah, whatever. The centers of learning in the future. How does it look like? How will this take place? Because I think understanding the concept theoretically is fine. The hard time people have when I talk to them about these things is, yeah, but what does it look like step for step in everyday life? And I think from that, they are able to feel it, and then it's in their field, maybe.
Yeah. So from one perspective, we are shifting from attachments and control to resonance. Okay, these are key words. So in the matrix, we are operating with like conditional love, that we make conditions and we control ourselves, we control others. And that's how we do things. Now, when we step out of that, we become one with the universe and we trust the universe and we start operating with resonance. So we have an open heart, so we feel all the fields, we feel all the people around us. All right. And then the resonance is guiding us moment to moment. And to switch then from the control-based operating system to the resonance, flow-based operating system, this is what we will do in our school, the Jedi Academy. And I can give a concrete example of this. It's like, because we are then constantly in peace and neutrality when we are aware of these fields. So if it's a difficult field coming up, then we know how to tune it. So we are sort of always in a state of peace and neutrality. So we don't need anything. We don't want things like in the old way. So instead, we are peaceful, patient, and then the resonance is showing us. So it could be that you sit in the school And then you just feel your energy sort of stretching out towards one classroom, or perhaps to one student or to one teacher. So just notice this in your peaceful, neutral state. And that interaction is sort of happening in the field before you go there. So this is crucial. So what we do in the matrix is like we just go with the body where we think we go, and then it's just a mess energetically because we went there because of fear. And so in the resonance based, we allow the energy to go before the physical body because we are so peaceful and neutral, and we just trust the universe, so we don't rush into anything. So then it's just moment by moment in the eternal now. So you sit in the school again. Then you feel your energy stretching out to one of the classrooms. And you just experience the frequency there. You feel all the students, the teachers. And then it's like it clicks in. It's harmonized. Like it's your presence in that classroom is already harmonized. And that's when you take your physical body and allow it to sort of flow in that direction. It's like a bridge have already been created, and it's like you effortlessly just walk there because it's like in tune with the whole universe. And when you come in there, some kind of scenario will play out, but it's already been tuned in the fields before. So it's like a nice, it's a positive encounter. It was meant to be. You're exactly in the right place at the exactly right time. And you enjoy that experience with your physical body and with the physical bodies of the students and the teachers. And then you just feel, wow, this was great. And then the energy again starts moving in another way. So then the next scenario is already starting to create itself with some other people, or maybe solitude. Because in these schools, how I see it, we will have like a lot of different areas, like different hubs with different, so some will be like sound therapy, some will be different colors, some will be different shapes and forms. So it's like a buffet. The school is like a buffet of wonderful spaces where you're invited to the spaces at the right time. And then the right people will be in that exact space at the same time. So rather than having like fixed times and schedules, it becomes a resonance-based school where you feel drawn to that room and the energy is going there, and then you move your physical body there, and some kind of scenario will be playing out there.
That's nice. Yeah. So what is the hardest part of creating something like this in the 2025 reality that we are in?
For me, it's the constant bombardment of fear and control and such things from everywhere. So it's really about the critical mass, because if we are alone doing this, it's very difficult. But it's like when we have more and more people, we really create this new reality. It becomes like a time capsule. We are already operating like in the future, because if we all operate with resonance, it's sort of timeless. So the biggest challenge is to find these souls that are ready to break out of the fear structures and to live it like this every day. I think that's our current challenge.
True. Very true. But I also feel like maybe it's just me, or maybe my focus has shifted, but I see way more people acting into this direction instead of whatever is going out there, is going on out there. In the beginning, when I started unschooling like 10 years ago, people didn't even know that homeschooling existed in my field. And now I'm in a field where I can, where I'm just so inspired and sometimes like overwhelmed by all the genius around me, all the crazy nice ideas people have for our life, for our future, for our society. So I really have hope that this is really working out. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. So, next question. So, what happened in your life or whatever that made you be like, okay, this is what I want to do now. I want to create the educational realms of the future.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had a few near-death experiences where I understood that the construct is just a construct, that we exist beyond the construct. So that creates more of a playfulness in life, not take it so seriously. And then my inner architect created a few things, a few experiences where I really felt pain for children. So this was something that I discovered quite recently. Like I've always been working with children and communities. And I found actually that my soul sort of created that trauma for me, where I felt so helpless, experiencing the suffering of the children. So somehow that experience just shaped me, like I need to help children. Oh, so that trauma is still with me now, guiding me. But so it became like a mission to create spaces where children can find themselves.
That's nice. I need to say I never had a real near-death experience, I think. I don't remember. I just had one time a friend of mine was telling me about his near-death experience, and I was so into it that my body left and my soul left my body, and I was seeing the scene from like above. I just saw like the wall sliding, and I was like, okay, where's the wall going? But I was going. So, and I had the same feeling. I felt so much pain for all the kids I met in my life, including myself, my sister especially. I had the biggest pain for my sister because she's just such a genius. And it was all buried underneath that matrix bullshit and my parents' inability to really raise us as human beings. They did their best for sure. But the feeling that sorry for kids, and they are so innocent, they are pure, and we could change society in a heartbeat if we would treat children like real, actual human beings instead of industrialized goods that has to be shaped. Because I think it's really the other way around. They shape us. Because if you let your child roam free, you will discover what was maybe taken away from you. And if you're not afraid of this and you're in your trusting, if you're trusting in that, you can learn much more from them than they can learn from you. Because I think maybe a couple of weeks ago, we had our son's best friend over. He's mostly here on the weekends for 1 or 2 days, nights. And they are outsmarting me. Of course they do. And they were so proud of it. And I realized, of course, this is how it has to be. Of course, they have to be way smarter than me, but they're only 12 and they're like way above. I mean, I have experience. It's the wisdom of life, the wisdom of the metric system, how it works, how to guide yourself through this mess. But they have something way bigger. They have this trust, they have these big hearts, and they have no trauma regarding who they are, what their capabilities are. So they are just thriving, and it's so inspirational. So what I really think is that I was always thinking, wow, parents have so many fears around letting go and trusting into the process, and really be open to what the future might look like if we just let go. But I thought, if they see their kids thriving, it will have a ripple effect back on them. So I think a lot of, because fear is one of the biggest things that parents always communicate with me when we talk about these things. And I've been thinking a lot about that. So I guess when they see their kids thriving, the fear will go away. And the more we are, the easier it will be for other parents to step in and just go with the flow, I guess. So I don't know, maybe you have an idea of how society will change when more and more people go into the direction of leaving the metric system behind and working on their fears of what it means to be self-sovereign regarding themselves and their kids, of course, and education, whatever.
Yes. So the fears are just different illusions. So it's like every day we just get new fears, but understanding that it's just different illusions. It's never true. So the foundation of higher consciousness is that we don't need to worry about anything. Everything is unfolding perfectly. And so the fears is just sort of disturbances. You just don't identify with it, and then they just melt away. So when we come into living in resonance, so we get used to not having fears, then it's just natural to do what we love and to support others to do what they love. It's like nothing else to do. It's just the fears makes us confused. So if we look at the financial fear, which is one of the bigger ones, then it's not about the numbers in the bank account. It's just a fear that just talks about money. But I know so many rich people, I know poor people. It's no correlation between how much money you have, and it's just how addicted you are to the collective financial fear fields. So as long as you believe in the financial fear, it will be with you, even when you get millions and millions. So it's about understanding where this financial fear comes from and to just treat it as a collective field or ancestral patterns and stop acting as if it's true. So whatever financial situation you have, you can just stop doing things out of financial fear. And when I say this, of course, your financial fears will come up in this very moment, and you will say, no, but just 1 month or just one more year, and then I will be safe. That's part of the attachment to the collective financial fear frequency. So in this eternal moment, it's up to you to just decide that you will not play in this financial fear games anymore. And when you decide that, you become free. And you can just live, enjoy, and just do what you love, and hang out with other people that do what they love. And we create a better world.
True. That's pretty nice. So I think I'm done with all of the questions I had in my head. And I think it's the first time I ever completed all of the questions, because I never prepare anything. But in the first couple of minutes, there are coming like millions of questions, and I always write them down. And this time, I'm out of questions. So is there anything you want to share?
I think we can go into a practical.
Yes, let's do it.
So what's happening now is that people have been listening to this, they've been attuning to the fields, they've been experiencing the various control patterns coming up, trying to, I don't believe this or whatever.
Mhm.
But since we have been talking about those very functions, I think the listeners at this point are sort of in a double awareness state. So they can experience the control patterns coming up, but they are also like, actually, there's something beyond this. So we can just do a meditation together here, where everyone gets to experience how they can actually allow all those fears and doubts to melt away.
That's beautiful.
Okay. So wherever you are in the world, just feel your body. And experience anything and everything that is just coming up in your emotional field, your thoughts, or in your physical body. Maybe your physical body wants to move. Maybe you're breathing. Are you controlling the breathing, or is the breathing just flowing naturally? So the first step here is to just feel safe. Feel safe in your body. There is nothing that can hurt you. And then in your external environment, you're safe in your external environment. You think about nature, lakes, waterfall, forest, mountains. Connect to this earth and feel safe on this planet. So when you feel safe in your body, you feel safe in your house, you feel safe on the planet, that's when you can start just opening up to the world of frequencies. So you now go beyond the construct. Your body is laying safely or sitting safely. Your breathing is just flowing by itself. So when we are stressed, we are pushing things away, pushing emotions away, problems away. So let's just flip this around now. you're safe, you're strong, you're in the construct, you're beyond the construct, and you can just allow yourself to feel anything, to think anything. So instead of pushing away, just open up your field, knowing that you're strong enough to face whatever comes up. So when you inhale, you allow things to come out in. When you exhale, it just melts away. And that's when we come in contact with this natural intelligence in flow. All the fears, shame, guilt, pride just melts away. And we come into this new baseline of operating in peace and trust. Just waiting for the next inspiration to come, because we don't need to do anything out of fear. So we just enjoy life until we get inspiration. When we have inspiration, we enjoy doing what we are inspired to do, and then we relax again, and we don't need other things anymore. This is just a new state of being, new state of living. And this is what could be, or what can be, and what is now becoming the natural state for children also. Yes. Thank you, Alex, for inviting me to this podcast so we could experience this unfolding in flow together.
Yes, thank you so much for making it happen.
So maybe we should invite those who feel called to our school. It's called Jedi Academy. We are slowly starting up classes where children can connect. We will also have sessions for the parents. So we will have sessions with the kids where they can share their experiences, and then we will have sessions with the parents. Yeah.
Nice. Pretty cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.